This is our opening attraction of the evening, 6 rounds in the welterweight division.
Here is a photo from Pittwater Live, February 21, showing that Mona Vale has done its fair share of heavy lifting in providing medium density housing at Warriewood, Mona Vale Beachside and Park Street. The article has Mayor Regan fast-tracking the Mona Vale Place Plan. The previous Mona Vale Place Plan, comprehensively discredited, was withdrawn by the then administrator of the forcibly amalgamated Northern Beaches Council. The killing off of Pittwater was a necessary first step to enable more intensive development of the now defunct Pittwater LGA. The Mona Vale Place Plan and the Beeline bus route are essential to government and developer success. But unfortunately, the plan has little to do with housing the less fortunates and everything to do with developer profits and dodgy targets set in a pre-COVID world. The Pittwater Life article has Mayor Regan asking the state government, that's Rob Stokes, to fund a new Mona Vale Place Plan. This is interesting because the Northern Beaches Council currently has on public exhibition, for 1 month only, closing date 21 February, the draft Northern Beaches Local Housing Strategy. This document sets targets, 1,000 dwellings here, 1,000 there, to satisfy the government's broad brush population housing target. This target, if accepted, will become the plan, and a fait accompli. This document concentrates all development around existing centres such as Mona Vale, Newport and Avalon, with a particular focus on Beeline bus stops. The government still wants to drive the Beeline through to Newport. Council's intention is to restrict intense development to these centres, thus preserving the rest of the Shire. Mayor Regan will then seek exemption for the Northern Beaches from state environmental planning policies, SEPs, for seniors housing, disability housing, boarding houses, and most especially from the low-rise housing diversity code. That's manor houses, 1- and 2-storey dual occupancies, and terraces, all with fast-track development processes. The council document refers to we many times. That's the royal we, as though we're all complicit in this process. We are not. It also speaks of concentric circles around urban centres of 1 and 1.5 kilometre radius. The 1.5 kilometres being, we assume, a future fudge circle. Note that for a 1 kilometre radius, most of Pittwater is captured in the medium to high density rings. Applying the 1.5 kilometre radius captures virtually all of Pittwater for intensive development. So much for saving Pittwater's residential areas, Mayor Regan. The low-rise housing diversity code is actually Rob Stokes' creation. It's the political embodiment of his doctoral thesis, The Battle for the Big Backyard. The title says it all, really. What else do you need to know? He's coming for your backyard in the form of a blanket approach to housing which seeks to inflict overdevelopment on a narrow peninsula that can never be the solution to Sydney's housing problems. There's insufficient space here, so why destroy what we cherish? So does this put a tick to your thesis, the battle for the big backyard?
Well, yeah, I think it does, because what we're saying here, it's a little bit different because my thesis was particularly about existing urban areas. This is a new urban area, so we can learn from some of the mistakes of subdivisions in the past. And the quarter-acre block, for example, was actually designed in the late 1800s as the minimum lot size at which you could dispose of your own wastes on site. So obviously we don't have those constraints now, so the key with this one is to get access to private open space, as well as it's not the sort of private open space where you're going to play a game of tip footy. Instead, there's going to be provision for ovals for those sorts of things, but the sort of private open space we're looking at through, for example, terrace houses, will be the place for a veggie patch, place to dry your clothes outside, perhaps a carport that could serve also as an entertaining area. And the key with that is for young families, particularly trying to buy in the Northern Beaches, there's simply the gap's too big to get a classic 800 square metre block. What you need to do is to look at how we can be more efficient with the land supply, so the land cost comes down, so that local younger families can get a foot into the market, which is going to be really important.
On the one hand, we have the Planning Minister, our local member, advocating higher density throughout the Shire via his Battle of the Big Backyard thesis. On the other, the Northern Beaches Council offers its local housing strategy and centres renewal framework. Mayor Regan is subverting Stokes' policy in that he, Regan, seeks exemption from Stokes' policy at the expense of our village centres. Either way, we lose. If we accept targets without an accompanying plan, we won't know what lifestyle we'll end up with. Targets without a plan are a Pandora's box. Rob Stokes' round 1 saw the loss of Pittwater with forced council amalgamations. In the next round, will we see the loss of Pittwater's lifestyle and more particularly its precious bushland environment? The irony is that the battle for the big backyard, Stokes' legacy, is being fought in Pittwater, his own backyard. And the question is, as always, just what does Rob Stokes stand for?
This is as bad as I've ever seen